I think that a lot of people were surprised by how well we did, except for us. And I think what we did last year, winning 10 games, getting to the NE10 playoffs, winning the ECAC championship, I think that's a credit to who we brought in. We have a group that put in standards for itself from the first day we started this program and never allowed themselves to be a new team. Typically this takes 4 to 5 years to do what we've done really after 2 seasons and going into 3. And it's because of who we have here. Not just do we have really good lacrosse players here, and we do, but they're successful people. They're great people. We've had every semester in our history a GPA of 3.4 or higher. If you look at our women within the community, very actively engaged in Pace University, not just Pace University athletics or lacrosse. A group that holds itself to very high standards no matter what they do, so it just happens to show up on the field. But the first thing I thought about when we won the ECAC, and well, when we were winning, because the game was kind of over pretty quickly, was how great these kids are and how much they stand for and how proud I am of them. So I think if you look at last year as a whole, you see a lot of successful people enjoying success, which is kind of what we do in athletics. And so I was really happy with it. I think we've set the stage for a program that's going to be very strong for years to come. And the beauty is the core of this group I have for 2 more seasons beginning this Saturday. So for us to do things so well so quickly just means that we have a lot of time to see how far can this program go. And I'm excited to see that. I think now that we are nationally ranked, now that we're playing a really nationally competitive schedule, we're still in Northeast 10, which I will say is the best lacrosse conference in the sport, any level. We have players who are at least going to be considered, hopefully, for All-American at the end of the season. Whether or not we get there depends on how well we do. But players who, if there were a preseason All-American consideration type of list, I think would be on it. I think Casey Gelderman is the one player that everyone's going to start to look at as the year moves along. The word I use to describe Casey is complete. There's no area of her game that she needs to work on at this point. She just needs to keep getting the confidence to be one of the best players in the country. Abby Hameson, returning after being a really great impact transfer last year, had some Division I experience under her belt when she got here, and I think Abby's added more to her game for this year. She was our leading scorer last year. I would expect that she has the opportunity to do the same. Abby's capable of taking over a game, which we saw when we scrimmaged New York Tech a couple weeks ago. There was a stretch where it was a 6-3 game at halftime, and Abby woke up for the second half, and suddenly it was a 12-3 game because Abby, I think, scored 4 or 5 in a row. She scores goals in bunches. She's a really tough matchup for other teams. But this year she's added a lot more skill just in terms of the system and ways to create without the ball. She's really worked hard in that area of her game, and it's starting to show. The third offensive player that people kind of talk about, I think, about is Courtney Paps, a sophomore. Courtney was on the Northeast 10 All-Rookie team last year. Athletically speaking, I think Courtney's as gifted as you're going to see at this level. Just tremendous speed, tremendous athleticism, a very strong player. Has added a lot as a midfielder, added a lot to her defensive game this year to make her more complete. She's incredible in the draw circle just because she's so scrappy and tough. And she's just the kind of kid that I think every team needs one of to be successful. Does a lot of the little things, a lot of the grunt work for us. The day I found out that we were ranked in the top 20 and opening up at number 18, of the 18 seasons I've had coaching lacrosse, I think that was probably the proudest moment for me. Just because everything that we do here, I go back to the place where my first day here, I was in someone else's office in the Goldstein gym and had a blank slate, and it was Thanksgiving time, and after most kids make their decision, and I had to find a team. And I remember my first thought was, all right, what have I really gotten myself into here? And I say that with a smile because I knew everything was in place at Pace University to have a nationally ranked program. I played for 1 year, so I kind of know the landscape enough to know we can really put it together here. But I never thought after 2 seasons, because our national ranking has nothing to do with 2017. It's based on what we did over the last 2 years. So you can say accurately we became a top 20 team in the country after 2 seasons. It still does take 4 or 5 years to complete the process, I think. We're in year 3 and we're a top 20 team. It is a little bit scary because for 2 years we played the role of the underdog extremely well. Every game our first 2 years we had the right to lose. And even though there were games we kind of knew we had a real good shot to win, for the first 2 years, had we gone out there and lost a game that we probably should have won, we're still young. We're still building. There's a reason why you can lose a game. So now here we are in year 3. If there are 120 teams in Division 2, we've jumped over 100 of them, and if not more. And now, for the team that isn't in the top 20, our game's a big deal, where it wasn't a year ago. So I think this ranking changes the whole dynamics of our season. Every game is a big game, not just for us, but for our opponent. We're going to get a better effort from teams I think we've gotten in the past, because there's two types of teams now. There's ranked teams who we are part of their strength of schedule, so they have to beat us to get to the NCAA tournament, or unranked teams who desperately want to be ranked, who need to beat us to get there. So I think what we're going to see are opponents who just play better against us, which means we need to elevate our game a bit higher. I think looking at the way the Northeast 10 works right now, there's no bad team. There's no day off. The last place any 10 team is probably in the top 2 or 3 of any other conference in the country, literally. You can't have a bad day in the NE10. So the non-conference schedule is preparing us hopefully to do that. But the way it works in terms of the postseason, Delphi's in the world of their own. The number 1 team in the country, number 1 team in the conference. It's rare they win a game by less than 10. And now they have a chip on their shoulder because they lost in the NCAA finals last year in an upset. Lemoyne is a step behind the Delphi, but in their own stratosphere as well. In the Northeast 10, 3 through 14, pretty close teams to one another. There's a 5-6 goal difference between number 3 and number 14. It's any given day, anyone can beat anyone. The trick is you don't want to be 7 or 8 come playoff time. You want to be 6 or up. So you have a shot to get to the second round, which really, if you make the NE10 Final Four, you're almost assured a spot in the NCAA tournament. Last year, our last game was against Stonehill. Had we won, we would have been the 6th seed playing Bentley, who we already beat. But we lost. We dropped down to 8. We had to play Delphi, and that was kind of the end of that. And so obviously you just want to get in the tournament, and I think every year our goal is just going to be to get into the tournament. But by being battle-tested, by being more game-ready, by having this non-conference schedule, my hope is we can have a good enough season to be 6 or better, which we're ranked 6 pre-season, so other people think we can get there as well, and have a real shot to get to Final Four weekend when anything can happen. Hey, we can go out on this schedule and win 5 games. It's a good enough schedule. Everyone can beat us. But if we put it together the way we did last year with a bit more seasoning now, my hope is we can just take this program a step further. We're starting 1 freshman this year, which is to our credit. It's the first time we're only starting 1 freshman, so it's exciting that come Saturday, a big game, every starter has played a game before here except for 1. But our 1 freshman starter is a great one. Her name is Alexa Punzone. She is a defender, a Long Island kid, as tough and athletic as you get. Really understands the college game. Very feisty, strong kid, and doesn't get phased, doesn't get pushed around out there. We have a lot of good defenders on this team, and the fact that Alexa's starting as a freshman shows a lot about Alexa. I'm looking forward to it as much as anybody. I think here's the deal. We've been really good for a new team. We've been phenomenal for a new team. We've done more than most new teams can expect, and I think it's safe to say we've surpassed every expectation of us thus far. If we're going to prove ourselves to be a legitimate top 20 team, if we're going to prove ourselves to be a contender for the NCAA tournament, we can't be a good new team anymore. We need to be a good team. That's a hard one. And we're asking an awful lot of a still very young team with no senior leadership. So I think what I'm excited to see is I think we're going to be in every game. Even the top teams I think we're going to be in. I think we're going to be in a position to win a lot of games this year. We're going to be in a position to lose every game this year. And it's the beauty of the NE10. The Northeast 10 is strong enough that we can seriously have a nationally ranked team that doesn't make the conference tournament, which we have 7 ranked right now. If we have 9 ranked teams, someone's not going to the playoffs who's the top 20 team in the country. That's how good the Northeast 10 is. What we need to do is develop right away consistency, that we know what to expect from us every single game so that we are in a position to win every game. I think you'll see us win some games. I think you'll see us lose some games. I don't think anyone takes us lightly anymore. What I do know about this season, though, is that we return everyone next year. And so I see us right now as being kind of like a 34 game season. How far can we go this year? Because next year I do consider us to be one of the favorites in this conference. And so my hope is this year we do well enough to know that 2018 gets special.